Hi everybody, Bobby Ogley, project manager and professional coach. Today's question, why do startups fail? They fail because they don't get money in. And maybe they don't get any money in ever, or maybe they don't get enough money in over time or fast enough. Yeah. What you are as a startup is you're looking for a sustainable business model, which then allows you to get into high growth mode. And until you not just have something to sell, but have a way of operating and selling that you can generate good margin, generate good money in, good revenue in, you're very much selling a dream. And then once you do have a product, something you could sell, then it becomes this efficiency scaling kind of battle. So most startups fail because they don't have enough money. I don't know how it all blocks down, but some of you may have you've probably heard of the Valley of Death. When you study entrepreneurship, in a academic sense, you'll hear about that. But that's basically just a fancy way of saying there are different points in this early stage when, if they don't get enough money, they're going to die, right? And part of this also kind of naturally, even if we're dealing with like seed money and different angel money and things like that, or round one, how if you're not progressing and able to hit your growth milestones early enough, the funding, the potential for funding in all senses, public and private sector, will dry up, right? So you need to think of money as this stage gate, as this milestone battle of this money needs to get, we're at point A, we're experiencing these problems, we need to do this next. I need to get this chunk of money to get to point B. Once we're at point B, then we can do this money thing and then get to point C. You need to keep hitting whatever these progress milestones are, right? And when you stop being able to do that, and it could be for all kinds of reasons, maybe you didn't get enough money and you couldn't afford to get the amount of product development you needed, or ended up being much more complicated than you thought. It could be for certain biotech or aerospace or like other sorts of tech, things can just get very long time cycle or super expensive asset intensive, right? And that can be a big barrier, right? You're not just dealing with talent and IT labor, you're dealing with, $500,000, $1 million, multi-million dollar machines or facilities. That's a huge freaking barrier. These are all things that can cause problems. On a more subtle level, when a startup stops being, colloquially you might call it sexy, but it's like stops having that kind of good aura, that kind of goodwill aura that it can generate from people, that's definitely a bad sign. So particularly if there's not a lot of people cycling through in the startup area, or some that are kind of staying around for a while and not making progress, it's like, oh, that company, right? Like that's not good. You don't want to be that company. Oh, them, they're still around. Oh, right. Whereas, could be tomorrow if they hit their milestones and they get some big round or they close some big deal. Oh yeah, they're good. Oh yeah, no, I've heard of them. They've, which is in some sense implicitly like, yes, they seem to be effective in doing enough of what they need to be doing, right? But this all comes down to money. This is how quickly can you get money in. Another term I'll throw out here so you know what I'm talking about here is runway, financial runway. And this relates to this notion of burn rate. Burn rate is how quickly you're burning through cash, and that could be on a daily basis, or you probably think about it on a monthly basis, right? And then, so, what is that? That's your expenses, right? So what's the opposite to that? Your revenues. And as long as your revenues are bigger than your expenses, you have a finite amount of time, right? And once your revenues start exceeding your expenses, well, at least now you're at break even per month, and beyond that, hopefully you can start generating revenue, right? So that's a good point to be at. Once you can break it just even in terms of month to month cash flow, month to month, revenue versus expensive, that's great. Now, part of Valley of Death is also that you may have borrowed a bunch of money. You may have borrowed $500,000 or $5 million in the process to get to that point, and that's money you'll have to pay back. But at least you're sustainable in that your revenues are now matching out your expenses, so you're okay. That's a good spot to be at. Yeah. It's a money game. Don't ever forget that. That is particularly hard for the visionary or the technical expert types, which tend to found companies or found the innovation of companies, because they get so obsessed with their dream of what things could be, or they just like their product, right? Like a lot of founders or technical founders, CTOs, people like that, they just like their thing, right? So maybe they're a mechanical engineer, they're really into mechanical engineering, they made a mechanical engineering product, or mechatronics or whatever it was, and like if it were up to them, they would just do this stuff all day, right? They just think it's super cool, right? But that never was able to fully translate into the finished product or the whatever sales, and so the kind of the business, the sales value prop of how this helps others and how that develops into an organization, may just never happen, right? And you sometimes you're asking these feasibility, businessy type questions, and all you're getting back is like, it's like, why would someone do this? It's like, what? Because it's just cool. It's like, well, duh, because you're the technical person. You already drink the Kool-Aid. You of course think this is cool, right? Does the average person think this is cool? Does the resistant person, but person this could actually help, do they think it's cool? That's what really matters, right? Anyway, all about money. All about money. Startups die because they don't get enough money. Some of them don't ever get any money. They're never able to make it to a point where they can sell something, and they may not even get any financing. So it's like an idea of an idea. It's like the idea of even a startup. They haven't even started. They're just an up. I don't even know what that is. So I hope you learned something. I'm Bobby Ogilvy, project manager and professional coach. I'll talk to you guys again soon.